Today is the winter solstice. Today is in the northern hemisphere, it is the longest darkness. It is the shortest day of the year for us. And today is that day where after today, light begins to come back to us. And so let's look at this inward reflection that today is a symbolic of. And let us remember this quote from Ernest Holmes where he says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker that which they think into it. Life is a mirror and it reflects back to us what we think into it. And so on this longest night, the longest darkness, let us reflect on that. So I'd like just to start off for a moment, I'd like to ask you if you're comfortable with it to close your eyes. If not, just cast your eyes downward to minimize the visual stimulation. And just go in for a moment. Take a nice, deep, conscious breath. And go in for a moment and think of this. Life is a mirror and reflects back to the thinker what they think into it. So what is life reflecting back to me today? What is life reflecting back to you today? Just think about that as we are in the winter solstice right now. Knowing that tomorrow light starts coming back, the days start to get longer tomorrow. We may not notice it, but it will happen, and there will come a time when you'll look and go, oh wow, it's not dark at whatever time, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, or at night, or in the afternoon, or whatever time it's getting dark where you are. So what Jason talked about in opening us up to the message for today is our individual journey. And that's what we're talking about with the winter solstice. And there are so many other in this season that we're in right now of Hanukkah and Christmas and solstice and Kwanzaa. There are so many symbols for each and every one of us to be reminded of this journey that we're on. And I have to say that this talk for today has been inspired by a number of different conversations that I've had over this past week. And one of them was a conversation with, as you all know, I'm a grandmother. I have a very curious 6-year-old grandson. And he and I had this very long talk about the solar system. And we were talking about how all the planets revolve around the sun, yet each one is on its own path. And he has this incredible book about the solar system that goes everywhere from the Big Bang to and focusing on our solar system, but each planet, and it's just this incredible book and just opens up for many conversations and many questions. That's our inner journey also. It opens us up to many questions and conversations to allow us to bring that light that we are. So in this, we what we talked about is that each planet is unique in and of itself. Each planet is different. Some planets have no moons. Some planets have so many moons that is, those of us who are looking at it from Earth, we ran out of names and we've numbered them. They have so many moons. Some of them each planet has a different length of day. Some planets have rings or no rings. Each planet takes a different amount of time to orbit the sun, to make that 1 year journey. And when you equate it into Earth years, he was very curious about Pluto and why was it made a dwarf planet. That I'm not going to get into today. But what we found out was it takes 248 years for Pluto to go around or orbit the sun once. 248 years. Think about that. And it's not even in the same plane as all the rest of the planets. When you think of the solar system, you think of these planets going around the sun and they're all on the same plane. But Pluto, it's tilted. It's different. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. And then he was also interested in Uranus. And that takes 84 Earth years to go around the sun one time. And it rotates in the opposite direction of the other planets. Instead of going, east to west, it goes west to east. And not only that, all the other planets, their equator is in plane with its orbit somewhat. But Uranus, no, not Uranus. It's almost at 9 degrees. It's actually 99 degrees. So it's from Earth. It looks like it's tilted, laying down, tilted on its side. Lazy planet. That's what we were talking about. Is it a lazy planet because it's laying on its side? And you're probably sitting there going, okay, Jackie, I'm done with the science lesson here. Well, yeah, we're done with the science. But let's look at this from the perspective of our own journey. We are all on this journey together. And just like the planets, we are in this one, we are in different planes. We are each unique, yet we all have this one thing in common, that we are each an expression, a unique expression of the one life. Just as the planets are unique and individual and have their own characteristics, we do too. And when we begin to accept that all of the others around us are on this journey, and we can accept that ours is an individual journey, then we can be there for others that are on their journey. And so each soul's path is singular and valid, yet it's part of the whole. And the point of the talk today is it's not a race. There's no context to this. It's you are where you are, right exactly where you need to be. And there's no hierarchy. There's no one who is, I'm more spiritual than so-and-so. But this is a look within. This is looking within, and we look within. Not judgmentally, not to judge what life is reflecting back to me, but to look at it with gentle curiosity and having these questions of, what am I to learn from this? What am I to learn from what is being reflected back to me? What is mine to do? And if there's something that I'm out of discord with, that makes me cringe, that makes me feel uncomfortable, then questions I can ask myself, am I that? Have I been that? Am I just judgmental of that? And then what are the reasons? I liken our journeys, our spiritual journeys, the individuality of it, but part of the whole, as when you walk a labyrinth. And it really became apparent to me one time that the first time I walked a labyrinth with many other people. And the labyrinth, different from a maze has an entrance and an exit that may not be the same. And you're there, and there's tricks and stuff, and you're trying to find the one path through. Whereas a labyrinth starts and ends at the same point. And you follow the path, and the path has twists and turns. And you go into it with an intention, and you walk through it. And when I walked through it the first time with a number of people, there was no way for me to tell other than I knew who went before me and things like that. But I couldn't tell when I not ran into literally, but as I would pass people either walking with me or walking in the opposite direction of me, there was no way for me to know, had they already made it to the center and were working back, or where were they on their journey in the labyrinth? That's the same that we have with the journey that we're all on together. What I am responsible for, what is mine to do, is my journey. And it's not to compare with anyone else. I can remember as a new practitioner at our center in Connecticut, there was someone who was new to our center, who was really eager, very eager to be on this journey. And I brought up the book, and I don't think it was in a class. I think this was in a conversation. But I brought up the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And in that book, he presents a way of looking at consciousness as a scale. It's a logarithmic scale from 0 to 1,000. And 1,000 is where Jesus is. It's the Christ consciousness. It's Buddha, the Buddha. It is that consciousness that is the authentic self. And when I told this, when we were talking about this new person was like, "Oh, that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be 1,000," and set a date. Set a date for being a 1,000 on this logarithmic scale of consciousness. And it's like, first of all, do you know where you are on that now? And do you understand that this is not a linear thing? It takes a lot to move on a logarithmic scale. And it was like, this is not a journey with an end. This is a journey. And one thing that I understand, and I firmly believe in, is that consciousness is always evolving, not only mine, but the overall consciousness. There's always more. There's always a bigger expression of love that we can all be, that all of humanity can be. And that's the path that we're on. And this winter time, this solstice that we're in right now, invites us to go in to that inner reflection, to take the time to rest and to renew ourselves and honor our own personal rhythm of transformation. And think about whatever analogy makes sense to you, the caterpillar transforming into the butterfly. Walking the labyrinth into the center where I set my intention. I walk into the center, and as I walk, I allow that to come up so that I can look at that life reflecting back to me, the mirror that life is of what's going on inside. And I can ask those questions of what is mine to learn? What is mine to do? I can ask some questions like, what am I being called to awaken within myself? What new light is there that is ready to be born in me? And what can I do to honor my own rhythm, even if it differs from others? Even if I'm like Pluto, I'm on a whole different plane orbiting this. Or I'm like Uranus, and I look, other people they look at me and feel like I'm laying on my side. It doesn't matter. It's honoring my own rhythm. Carl Jung tells us that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. He who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. And that's what this whole journey is about. This is what winter reminds us of, and the solstice reminds us of. No matter how dark it can get on this journey, there is always that light that is entering in. That as we look in and reflect in, and we do it with gentle curiosity, not with judgment of any kind, just with curiosity, we find that this journey, no matter how difficult it may be, or how difficult it may seem in the moment, it's a journey of increasing our own light that we shed, that we stream out to all around us, all of humanity, to the entire universe, to all of creation. And it allows us to glow. It allows us to awaken, to not just dream. And we become that greater expression of ourselves. In this conversation with my grandson, some of us may be familiar with, but past Mars is, there's something called the asteroid belt. And as we were looking into it, the asteroid belt is like all of the planets were at one time, just a whole bunch of rocks orbiting around the sun. And this power, this force called gravity pulled them all together and made the planets. And so the question he asked was, why isn't that happening? Why aren't the asteroids all coming together and creating a planet? It's because of the effect of Jupiter. Jupiter's the next planet out. It's the biggest planet in our system. Some say it could have, in and of itself, turned into a sun, a smaller sun than the one that we have. But it is that influence. And to me, that is like the influence of the collective consciousness that can prevent me, that can keep me as the rocks orbiting the sun, rather than coming into that union, that family, that coming into my wholeness as my own planet, as my own self, that authentic self that I am. And so we need to be looking at that too. How is Jupiter affecting me? And I don't mean that from an astrology standpoint, because what I'm talking about is the collective consciousness that's out there. There's a lot going on right now that can affect each and every one of us, whether it is what's going on globally or nationally or locally or in our own life right now. And so again, I go back to life is a mirror that reflects back to the thinker, that which we think into it. And that when I look inside, I awaken. If I continue to look outside, if I continue to look at the why is this happening to me, and I'm saying that in that tone of voice to my own self. I'm not trying to be angry or anything. It's like, what happens is when I look inside, and what is life reflecting back to me? And look at it with curiosity. And maybe with some help. We are blessed in this teaching that, and this teaching in general, Centers for Spiritual Living, in this particular Center for Spiritual Living Metro, we are blessed with some people who have dedicated themselves to helping us on our journey, the practitioners, the people who are trained to know this truth, to not tell you what you need to do, but to guide you as you look inside and help you stay in that gentle curiosity, help you ask these questions. What is mine to do? What is mine to learn? What is being called within me to awaken? What new light is ready to be born in me right now? And how can I honor my own rhythm of transformation? And we are blessed at this particular center with some very skilled, very dedicated practitioners to help us through that. So let's take a step back now and just look at this whole season that we're in right now. We're coming to the end of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a celebration of light. It's a metaphor for our own faith, because there was enough oil to keep a light going for a day, and it lasted for 8 days, and it was the faith of the people in that temple that kept that light going for 8 days. And that's the faith that we can have. That's the faith that we can have, that even though it may look like I only have enough oil to keep that light burning for a day, I can myself, with this gentle curiosity, look at how can I keep the light going. I can utilize this community. I can utilize the community around me wherever I am located. And I can keep that faith going. And when we look at winter solstice, today, the day today where night is the longest, the dark is the longest that it is all year here in the Northern Hemisphere. Tomorrow brings me hope, because tomorrow the days start getting longer, even though I may not notice it. And it is my faith that knows that the sun will be with us longer, because the earth will be in its orbit. The earth is rotating and orbiting the sun in a way that we know that the light will come. And when we have that faith in our own ability to allow that more light to come in, we can transform ourselves. We can let that greater light that is ourself, we can find out what it is. What is the new light that's ready to be born in me? And now let's look at Christmas, because from a metaphorical standpoint, Christmas is the birth of the Christ consciousness. And think about some of the pieces of the story of Christmas, whatever your upbringing may be, whether it's a Christian where it's the story actually happened as it is, or non-Christian, it doesn't matter. Just look at the pieces in it. Think about Mary. Think about this person who lived in a time when being pregnant outside of marriage was devastating to your own life. And to have that faith, to have this incredible spiritual experience where the angel Gabriel comes and talks to her directly. And then to wake up and find out that, well, obviously she didn't wake up the next day, but to find out that you now are carrying a child and continue on with life, knowing what it's like around you, what that collective consciousness is around you. And then think of Joseph. They lived in a time when, just because she was pregnant, he could have said, I'm not having anything with it to do with you. I cast you out. Yet he stayed there. He had faith. He had faith that there was something more going on here, no matter what the appearance was in the moment, no matter what society dictated to him. And they followed that inner calling and went to Bethlehem and trusted that there was a place for them, and they found that place. And the Christ consciousness was born. Let's look at the Magi. Here's three, again, look at it from a metaphorical standpoint. Here are three guys off somewhere, and they get this inner guidance to follow a star, to follow a light, and they followed it. And according to the story, it's 6 days? It took days to get there. And they followed that light no matter what. And what happened was, no matter what was going on around them, they brought their gift. And when they got there, they found the Christ consciousness. They had faith. And what I want each and every one of you to know that are here today, that just the fact that you are here, you are precious to us. You bring your gift. Just the fact that you are sitting in your home, being part of this community. And however you may contribute, it doesn't matter. The fact that you're here, you are a blessing. You are a blessing to this center. You are a blessing to the world. You are a blessing to your family, you are a blessing. And we are grateful that you're here. And we're grateful that you've come to this sacred space. The sacred space where we honor each individual's journey. We're grateful that you are here in this sacred space where every journey is valued. And each and every individual is valued for their unique expression of the divine. And so I invite each and every one of us to consider the symbols of this season, to ask those questions, to take this time where nature shows us about going inside and preparing ourselves for what is to come. You know, all the trees have all gone inside, and they are resting, and they are preparing for the spring when they will have this incredible energy to put forth flowers and leaves. And there are a number of animals that are hibernating for the winter. And so let us each go inside with these symbols of this season and ask those questions. What is life reflecting back to me? The life reflects back to the thinker what they put into it. So what is it reflecting back to me? Where am I being called to awaken? This season is the birth of the Christ consciousness. So what new light within me is ready to be born, or is ready to shine brighter? And what can I do to honor my own rhythm? And I ask these questions with curiosity, not judgment. And I look at what is mine to do? What is mine to learn? And so, as we go forward into the end of this year of 2025 and prepare for 2026, I invite you to go forward and let this light of yours shine. Let this awakened heart bring to the world, bring to your own life that which is ready to shine brighter. And Jason did such an incredibly beautiful spiritual mind treatment, or what we call affirmative prayer, as we go into this. What I am going to say right now, and if you choose to close your eyes, you can, is what I know is absolute truth, is that God is all that there is. There is nothing outside of it. And that each and every one of us is a unique expression of the divine. And what I claim for each and every one of us is clarity and comfort and the quiet joy of this inner awakening, of making our path to that stable, to the manger, following the light and finding that Christ consciousness of what wants to emerge, what wants to express as me in this coming year. And I am grateful to know this truth. I'm grateful to express this in the word, and with absolute joy and love and gratitude. I just put all of this into the loving hands of the law, and knowing that love shows the way, and it is the law that allows it to happen, that makes it happen. And so I get myself out of the way. And I bless each and every one of you and your households and everyone in your family and friends for this beautiful time of the year. And I let this go, and I let God, and so it is. Namaste, and enjoy the ride.